The 10 Commandments are written in Shema, if you're really paying attention. You can see them there, Mamish hidden in the words. And she knew if he says Shema, he'll be protected. So you know what she did? She said, hang him up before he says Shema in the morning. Wow. She knew the power of Shema. When a Yid says it, Chazal say, if Klai Yisrael would be careful with Shema, our enemies would fall down. She also said, hang him up early in the morning, so that Esther won't be available to speak to Achashverosh to save him. Right then, the workers started putting up this big pole to hang Mordechai, and Haman put his head in the noose. The noose is the rope. He put his head in it to show his workers, this is how I want you to hang Mordechai, and he put it like on his head. So Hashem announced in Shemayim, from the beginning of creation, this tree, this wood was prepared for you. For Haman. Hashem announced, Haman didn't hear, but you're acting like as if it's for Mordechai. This was made for you. Custom designed. It was the night before Haman planned on hanging Mordechai. And no one slept that night. Esther was busy preparing for the party with the king to make the royal banquet for Haman and Achashverosh to enjoy. Haman was busy making a gallows, a gigantic, humongous 100-foot beam that would hang up Mordechai for all the people of Shushan to see his arch enemy hanging in the air. And the Yidden didn't sleep that night either. They were crying and davening to Hashem to save them. Because we know, in every generation, Goyim have rose to kill Yidden. We know so many times how Hashem saves the Yidden from their enemies. In every generation. Sometimes the enemies are physical enemies who want to kill Yidden. Sometimes it's spiritual enemies. Enemies that want to hurt Klai Yisrael. Like one rabbi said, Rabbi Raful said, in this generation, he says, you know where Amalek is? He called the iPod Amalek. Because it's so filled with tumah that if a person uses it the wrong way, it's mamish like Amalek trying to ruin his neshama. But we have to hope that Hashem will save us in every generation. So it turns out the Yidden were crying and davening. And even King Achashverosh did not sleep that night. This story happened on Pesach, because this was right after the decree went out to annihilate the Jews, and now the Yidden fasted 3 days. Esther goes to Achashverosh, requests that they come for a party. So this is mamish. This miracle is happening on Pesach, which is really a funny riddle. If I would tell you on which holiday did the miracle of Purim happen, the real miracles happened on Pesach. Maybe that's why Chazal say, Mishenechnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha, you should be happy in the month of Adar, because the miracles of Purim and Pesach were very related to each other. So it turns out, when Haman finished preparing the gigantic tree to hang Mordechai, he went to visit Mordechai, see what he's up to. And he noticed that Mordechai was sitting in a beis medrash, because that's where tzaddikim like to sit. Talmidei Chachamim like to sit in a beis medrash. Some people, they like to sit in front of their television or their computer. But a Talmid Chacham likes to sit in the beis medrash, next to the Aron Kodesh. So where do you think he found Mordechai? Sitting in a beis medrash, but a big beis medrash. And guess how many children were learning with Mordechai on that night? 22,000 kinderlach. 22,000 children. And they were fasting. They were still fasting. And they were sitting on the floor. And they were wearing sack clothing and crying. Haman thundered and said, guards, chain all these children up in chains and guard them. Tomorrow morning, before I hang Mordecai, I want to take all these children. And Haman said he was going to kill all the children. You see here that Haman hated Klai Yisrael so much he wanted to kill 22,000 children. What do the children do? But that's the hate that Amalek has. He just wants to get rid of the Yidden. That's why when Esav was coming to greet Yaakov, Yaakov was afraid that he might kill the children. He had to prepare either a present for Esav HaRasha, sent him a lot of animals as a gift. He prepared a tefillah to Hashem, and he also prepared for battle. And now Haman showed his true color. He wanted to even kill the children. The mothers of those children had brought them food and drink, hoping they would eat. But those children were so righteous, they swore that they would not break their fast. So it seems from here that Esther's approach to Achashverosh was while the Yidden were in the 3-day fast. Now here's one of my favorite parts of the whole story. The cries of those precious children went up to heaven as they were crying, and all of the angels were disturbed from the sound of the crying. And Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, asked, why are those children crying and praying? And right then Hashem had mercy on Am Yisrael, and he sent the Malach Gabriel, go disturb Achashverosh's sleep, or I'll shake him up from his sleep and disturb him too. So I saw in a beautiful Medrash in Esther Rabbah that really Eliyahu Navi went and he got Moshe Rabbeinu to daven for Klal Yisrael. And Moshe davened up there. And Moshe said, is there anyone down there that can pray? And he said, Mordechai could pray. So you had Moshe Rabbeinu davening, Eliyahu Navi davening, Mordechai davening, and now the kids davening. But it was the kids davening that was the most powerful. Because Chazal tell us in the Gemara that the Torah of children and the Tefillah of children is more precious to Hashem and more powerful than even the Torah and the Tefillah of adults. Because children don't really have too much Averis yet. I was watching yesterday, we went on a trip snow tubing. I was watching if any kids did big Averis. The only thing I saw them doing the whole time was playing with their DS. And a couple of kids who were doing Mishnayos Baal Peh. But everyone else was busy with DS. I don't think that's considered a big Avera. Adults have much bigger Averis than the Bittul Torah of playing with a DS game. And it turns out 365 times the angel Gabriel shoved into Achashverosh. And each time the king tried to go back to sleep, but the angel kept poking him. And in his dream, Achashverosh had a nightmare. He saw Haman with a big sword coming, with his sword drawn, standing by Achashverosh's bed. What else is he doing with the sword drawn? You know, a guard has the sword down. He doesn't have it drawn out. Achashverosh woke up and he called for the baker and the cook and the wine maker, the bartender. He said, what did you guys put in my food? You must have put some type of poison in my food that's making me not sleep well and having these crazy dreams, these nightmares. So the three, the baker, the butcher, and the bartender said, no, we didn't put anything in your food, Your Majesty. And besides, today you ate with Esther. We didn't even cook for you today. You went to Esther's party. Go see how they're feeling. Maybe they don't feel good. Maybe it was something in their food. And he quickly sent a message to Haman and Esther. Are you feeling okay? If you have stomach ache, you have problems or something, I'm having crazy dreams, I can't sleep. And they sent a message back that they're feeling fine. The king didn't know why he's not sleeping well. And then he started wondering, why is the queen inviting Haman to the party? What's going on between Esther and Haman? Maybe they're close. Maybe they're trying to get rid of me. By the Goyim, it wasn't uncommon for a man to have an affair with a woman. It was very common by Goyim, even though they're not allowed to do Gil Arayas either, but it wasn't unheard of. So maybe Achashverosh wondered, maybe Haman and Esther like each other. Maybe they want to be married and get rid of me. Then Achashverosh started wondering, how come I don't have any friends who are protecting me or telling me of the different plots that are going on? A king is often very alarmed or worried if there might be people threatening their lives. Then he said, maybe it's my fault if I don't have any friends who would come to save me from this assassination. Maybe one time someone helped me and I didn't reward him. And that's why other people don't want to help me. Hey, bring me my diary, the royal journal. I want to read through it. This book is filled with my memories. Maybe I'll see over there that someone once did good for me and I didn't help him. So Shimshai, who was Haman's son, was the cipher of the king, one of the scribes. He used to write, for the king, like his news. So he was told to read the diary. So what happened was, Achashverosh was having a nightmare. He dreamed that Haman was standing with a sword ready to kill him, and he couldn't sleep that night. And that night the Yidden were crying out to Hashem, and it was a scary night for the history of Klal Yisrael. And the king says, maybe someone's trying to plot against me, and my mind senses it, my mazel feels it. Quick, read me my diary. Maybe there's someone who once helped me in the past and never rewarded him. And now, maybe if I reward him, people will see, it pays to help the king. The king gives big reward, and then my life could be saved. So now, Achashverosh is ready to reward someone big time. So, it turns out he calls Shimshai, the writer, the royal writer, and he says, read me my memory book. So, he starts reading it, and then when he gets to the story of Big Son and Seresh, which speaks about how Mordechai saved the king, he didn't want to read it. He decided to skip over it and change the page. He didn't want to read about Mordechai, the Jew, saving the king and never getting reward. So, as soon as he started turning the pages, Hashem made a miracle, and the pages turned back by themselves. And he kept on bumping into the story, and he would turn the pages, and the book would keep going back. And he stopped because he didn't want to read it. So the king says, no, read it. Why don't you read what's in front of you? So he says, I can't read what it says. And he started erasing it. He decided to erase the story. Maybe he had liquid paper so that King Achashverosh would never know the story. He starts erasing it. So all of a sudden, the Malach Gabriel came and started writing it over. So the Malach, the angel, wrote it back. He doesn't understand how in the world it got back here. I just erased it. Then, he didn't want to read it. Maybe he would pretend his throat hurts. So he doesn't have to tell the story about Mordechai saving the king. So he didn't read it. So all of a sudden, the king hears it being read. Hashem made a miracle that the book itself started reading it. And he hears a voice that sounded loud and clear, saying that, Mordechai saved the king from poison when Big Son and Seresh tried plotting against him because they were relatives of Vashti and they wanted to take revenge since Achashverosh killed his wife. And Mordechai told Esther, and they were able to check that there was poison in the drink, and they were able to say they saved the king. So Achashverosh says, tell me, what honor, what reward did I give Mordechai for saving me? He asked his servants, and they said, he got nothing. Nothing? They said nothing. The king figured, no wonder people don't help save my life if I'm in danger. I didn't even reward the last guy who saved me. Call Haman, the king said. He was shocked and surprised when they said, oh, Haman is in the courtyard. He's outside. Achashverosh started thinking, in the middle of the night? Must have been 2 o'clock in the morning. What's Haman doing in my courtyard? Hey, maybe that's what my dream was. That Haman was coming to kill me in the middle of the night. But really, the reason Haman was in the courtyard is he didn't have the patience to wait till tomorrow to tell the king to hang Mordechai on the tree. He wanted to speak to him even in the middle of the night or as soon as he could. He was already waiting by the palace. When Haman came in, before he even got to say his request to hang Mordechai, the king said to him, you are my best advisor. You always have good ideas and plans. So tell me, what should I do to a person who I really want to honor? Haman started thinking to himself, surely